trusted name in news.
President Trump has often cited the terror attack in San Bernardino as one reason why America needs his executive order banning travel from 7 Muslim-majority countries. So, what does the congressman who represents that community think of the ban? We have him, Democratic Congressman Pete Aguilar, proud member of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. So, you are the example of the threat in San Bernardino. The wife slipped through even though she was making ugly messages on Facebook. The system failed and people died, and that's why we need the ban. Do you accept that?
I don't. And clearly what the president is trying to do, it's inappropriate and just inaccurate. But he and his administration continue to try to use San Bernardino to justify their Muslim ban. And it's just wrong.
One more beat on it. How is it wrong? She did get through. She and her husband and maybe others conspired and killed. The system didn't catch them. They were all Muslim. Let's try to stop that. His ban does this.
Nothing that the president proposed would have stopped December 2nd. Nothing that he would have proposed would have stopped 9/11 as well. We were talking about a United States citizen and a Pakistani, and that was not targeted in the president's ban. So this would have had zero effect. The local police chief has said this as well. You were out there, Chris, in San Bernardino. Nothing that the president proposed would have stopped the San Bernardino attack. And it's unfortunate that he continues to try to exploit my community by trying to say that.
Key fact, Pakistan not included in the 7 countries, and that is where this immigration came from that led to the San Bernardino massacre. True. However, how do they feel in San Bernardino, your constituents? The fear is real. The president is playing to that fear that people see Muslims killing people all over this world, and they figure, hey, I could be next. What do your constituents say, having felt the bite of terror?
Well, he is clearly trying to play to that fear, and I appreciate you saying that because it's what we feel in our community. But what we're focused on is continuing that healing process. There are individuals and survivors from that event who are still trying to get the medical care that they need. If the president was serious about helping, he would help in that scenario. The Department of Justice has been helpful and recently awarded a grant to San Bernardino for these purposes. If the president was serious about helping San Bernardino, he would stop trying to use fear as that tactic, and he would genuinely reach out to these individuals who need care and still need to heal.
All right. Other issues of the day. Mike Flynn, the National Security Advisor. The Democrats are pressing the idea that what he did in his communications with Russia before President Trump was then president may violate the Logan Act. Do you think that there's any chance of a prosecution on a law that has never been prosecuted?
Well, look, I mean, clearly Congress isn't gonna take action here. Members of the House have talked about this. This is something that if true, is terribly detrimental to the president's relationship with Congress, and this is just yet another example of the president getting too far out. If true, Michael Flynn has some serious explaining to do with respect to his conversations, the violation of the Logan Act. But I'm not going to hold my breath for House Republicans to move forward and to try to do anything to the National Security Advisor.
The key is if true, and Flynn and maybe Pence gave you a window of approach there because at least Flynn has backed off his initial statement of saying no twice when asked if sanctions ever came up in his dealings with Russia before he officially took office. And now his official statement is he doesn't recollect. And that is a smelly statement at the least. So that would be something to pursue as opposed to just the legal avenue. Kellyanne Conway, is this worth pursuing? The letter from Chaffetz, yes, which bolsters it as bipartisan, and Elijah Cummings saying, look into her violation of the law for, or at least ethical guidance for telling people to buy Ivanka Trump's goods while on Fox News and not being challenged about it. Do you really believe that she was seriously soliciting commercial activity in that capacity? Do you think this is worth going after?
Absolutely. I mean, let's take her at her words. But what I'm concerned too is, just days before that, she continues, just like members of the administration, to continue to use San Bernardino as an example of their Muslim ban. So clearly they have a difficulty telling the truth here, and the conflicts are very, very real. But this is a president who never released his taxes, feels he's immune from the conflict of interest laws that apply, and so this is something that absolutely has to be looked at. And I appreciate the bipartisan nature that Congress has sent this on.
I guess the question goes to selectivity. This seems to be penny ante compared to these other questions that you raised, like why aren't you guys pushing the FBI more about where they are on the connections between the Trump administration and Russia with respect to Flynn or otherwise, and why isn't there more congressional activity trying to find a way to get more disclosure out of the president about these obvious conflicts, not just potential conflicts, but real and actual ones? Why isn't the energy being spent there?
Well, we'll continue to try to talk about it at every point. The FBI has made very clear that they won't release details on an ongoing investigation, so we don't know.
We know that's not always the case, though, right?
Well, we do from before the election, clearly. So this is something where Director Comey is going to have to answer to Congress, and he's going to have to give us an update on where we are. But clearly there is plenty here, and the president is not making things any easier. You've alluded to this. He's having an incredibly difficult week. We know that. But the conflict of interests are real, and this is just yet another example where his administration just has a loose affiliation with the conflict of interest laws.
Representative Pete Aguilar, Democrat, California, representing San Bernardino, thank you for being on New Day.
Thank you, Chris.
Allison.
Well, President Trump's national security advisor reportedly discussed U.S. sanctions against Russia with a Russian official before President Trump took